By day, Chassidy Young works in the customer service world. By night, she works as an inspirational speaker and motivator. She has really a message of body love and self-acceptance. Chassidy Young was born with no limbs. This is her second shot.
On Second Shot, we cover 2 new stories every week to find out what kind of wisdom the world is dishing out today. And at the heart of every one of these stories are people, just like you and me, who've had to overcome incredible odds, to face the greatest challenges, to struggle and fight back. But now, we're changing it up. In these episodes, we're skipping the headlines and going straight to the people that inspire us to grow, to be bold, seek change, and act courageously when the rest of the world may not. A second look, a second chance, a second shot. This is Second Shot Sit-Downs with your host, Jenny Anchondo.
Okay, Chassidy, welcome.
Hi.
I am so happy to have you here. We've talked so much on the phone and connected through social media, so it's good to have you here in studio to talk about this. So I said in the intro, you were born with no limbs. What is it that you were born with? What's the condition that you were born with?
Ironically, I just learned the condition that I was born with. I am 32 years old, and I learned this year that the technical medical term is tetra-amelia. And that just basically means absence of extremities, limbs, and it can happen for various different, causes, but tetra-amelia is a term.
Okay, and then, so this whole time you didn't know, but
I didn't know.
Yeah, you were just rocking it anyway.
I was just rocking it. I just did. Yeah. Someone asked what happened. I was born without hands. That's it. That was my response. I didn't know what it was, but now I know.
So I told you ahead of time we were going to do these questions just to kind of get to know you. And the best way I know to get to know somebody is to find out who they are intrigued by.
Okay.
And so I want to know, and I want you to share with our Second Shot audience, who are the 3 people living, you would like to meet? And I say living because I do this as a way for you to vocalize this in hopes that it will actually happen for you.
Yes.
So who are your top 3?
Yeah. So I am a big fan of Ellen. I want to dance with her. That's it.
Yes.
So Ellen.
I
want to dance with her. I love her. I love her, how she gives back. I love how she loves herself, how she loves people.
Mm-hmm.
I am a big fan of, I'm an Oprah fan. I love her books. I'm a part of her book club.
Same.
I love her story. She's a positive role model and a positive image for, women, for women of color, and what she's done for the community.
So I'm coming with you to meet
yes.
both Ellen and Oprah. I'll be your assistant or something.
We're
both going to be there, and I will definitely dance. I can be your backup dancer.
Okay. I'm so fine with that. And the third person I would like to meet, most people probably don't know it, but it's my favorite musician. I'm a big music lover.
Okay.
So I love Frankie Beverly.
I don't know Frankie.
Okay. Oh God.
So what kind of music is it?
It's like soul music, R&B, like the old school. So it's all kind of music, but it's like feel good music. Like I remember growing up listening to him, and he's one of those artists that just turns any day into like a great day. And I just love him. He's okay.
Well, if any of you guys know him, send this podcast to him.
Fan.
Shoot it over to him on iTunes so that he knows that he's got Chassidy out here, waiting to hang out.
I've been to the concerts. I got all the songs. I know all the songs. I can go on stage, be a background singer.
Yes.
Whatever he wants me to do, I'm
okay,
there.
Perfect. Okay, good. Well, I love that we've, spoken out, hopefully starting to manifest some positive meetings happening in your life. And, I want to go back. When you and I were first talking, I was really struck by you kind of saying, Jenny, I didn't necessarily know or really notice that anything was different. Talk to me about that point when you realized as a child that life was going to be a little bit different for you.
Yeah. I knew, so the idea of not knowing that I was different was I knew that I didn't have any hands.
Okay.
I knew that I was, smaller than everyone else.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't understand that would mean that I would have restrictions or limitations, or that there was this big world out there that wasn't made for me. I was in a household of people who were very supportive. They challenged a lot of things. They challenged me and allowed me to do things. So when I made it into the real world outside of, the four walls of my home, I had a reality check that hit me in the face, like, you're disabled. You can't do this. And it was up until I didn't understand that.
How old were you at that
time? I was in the 6th grade, so I was probably about 12.
Okay.
12 years old. I had a dance competition, so I was very involved. I was a part of a dance team.
That is some growth mindset parents that put you on a dance team.
So I was very involved. I told my parents I wanted to do this dance team. I wanted to be a part of it. I did tryouts, and I made it. And so we had a big competition, and we went to Six Flags for the competition, and it was awesome. Like we did well. Like I knew my steps. I was co-captain. Like I was really involved with this team. So in my head, I'm like everyone else. So the activity was just during the day, but we had a full day where we didn't have to go to school. So of course we had recreational time set aside. Sure. So we're done, with our competition. And so it's time to be 12-year-olds and enjoy
go
the
celebrate.
festivities. And I was met that day with this disability. And I went to ride things, and it was, no, she can't go. It was, she can't do that.
Why?
She can't do this.
Because of the height?
I think it was because of the height. I think that at that time, I mean, as an adult, I understand. I understand it. As an adult, it may have been a liability thing. It may have been a height thing. But
when you're 12,
all
your classmates are going. Y'all just competed in the dance competition.
Yeah. So when you're 12, it is a reminder that you're not like these girls. Mm-hmm. You've performed. You've shared the stage. You've shared this moment with these girls, and it felt like you were all in unison. But you get to this ride, and now you are an outsider because you watch them leave. You're watching them go and have fun. And it was the first time where I was met with, no, Chess, you really can't do that. Because I didn't get that. At home, I didn't get that. I didn't get, no, you can't do that. Oh, hey, try it. It was some things I probably couldn't do, but it wasn't, no, Chassidy, don't even try to do that.
You were allowed to try and then figure, like, for example, for dance, how did you do that? How did you do the choreography?
I did. I mean, we did.
Yeah, you danced. You did it. You used your arms.
And
for people some of these people, are watching the podcast on YouTube, or it's premiering on Facebook. Some people are listening to it. Yeah. But for the people who are watching, you can see she's making hand gestures and everything like that. It's almost like you forget or don't even notice because of the way that you move so fluidly. So what happened after that big realization? Because that had to have been a really in stark contrast to your life previously. So
that day was, I remember being very sad. I think I cried the rest of the day. I cried the rest of the time. My coach, she had to, console me the rest of the time, because I was so emotional behind it. I went home to my mom, and I cried that entire day. Mm-hmm. I really was really sad. The next day I went back to school. I was very mopey. I was really sad. Like, I did not understand that. I didn't understand that this body that I was in, that I was operating in, betrayed me yesterday. Oh. Like, you betrayed me. I thought we were able to figure it out. I thought we could do everything, and you betrayed me. And I didn't understand that. I didn't get it. So it was probably a day or two where I was really depressed about it, and I didn't understand why I couldn't even try to do it.
What was the process after that? Mm-hmm. Because I think for most people in this situation, they're going to go through that, right? They're going to go through a body betrayal. I think it's actually quite fascinating that it wasn't until that age that you had such this positive outlook for so long, and your family did, and those surrounding you. What were the days like after that, and how did you come back to a place of self-acceptance and appreciating this body that you have?
Mm-hmm. So that time frame, it felt long. Mm-hmm. It felt like it probably lasted a month or two.
I'm sure. At age 12, I mean, things are a big... Yeah.
That day felt like an eternity. It really did. It felt like a very long day. The day afterwards felt long. But my mom and my dad were very strong and were very out front with me, or were very open with me and transparent. And they kept it real with me. Like, okay, this is where we are. This is what it is. It's always been this way. You know, it's always been this way. And they just had to let me know, like, in these four walls, we got you. We know we're going to let you try, but it's not going to always happen that way. And we had the conversation about there are going to be some things, Chassidy, you can't do.
Right.
We had the can't do conversation. And it was more so about you've lived 12 years and you've been doing all these great things and getting to this point and saying, and now becoming depressed and now rejecting this person. It didn't seem like for my parents that we're not going to let you go do that. Like, you've done so many great things. You're on the dance team. We were in this competition. What are you sad? What are you suppressed about? So it was more so just redirecting, redirecting that and to not focusing on what you can't do. Let's go back and say, well, look at what you've done. You were able to compete. So it was just bringing it back and saying, okay, yes, this is what it is, but you've done a lot of great things in this body. This body didn't betray you.
So you guys, that's the big lesson we can learn. Us adults can learn from 12-year-old Chassidy is the redirections. Because while we may not be in your exact situation, most people listening will not be.
Right.
We've all been in the position where we've seen the things we can't do and we focus so hard on it. We focus so hard on the things we can't do, and it can be really gripping and really halt progress. So it's like what 12-year-old Chassidy did was reframe, and your parents, and you say credit to your family too.
Yes.
Reframe, look at what you can do. And so is that sort of the method that you've used the rest of your life?
That's the method I've been using since then. It was just reframing. And it was, I felt like for a long time, maybe I lived in this world that was my world, but not necessarily a full real world. And I had to understand that it's okay to not do everything. You don't have to do everything. You don't have to prove anything. And I think that's what, I spent time doing, wanting to prove, like, I can do it. I can do that. And sometimes you can put yourself in danger.
Sure.
They would have put me on that roller coaster. That would have been horrible.
Right.
I was not tall enough.
Right.
I was not tall enough.
Right.
I that was just what it was. I wasn't tall enough to be on
now
that roller coaster.
At 32,
32, I'm not getting on the roller coaster. I just want to go eat turkey legs at Six Flags now.
Amen. Isn't that what everybody wants to do?
Just turkey legs and funnel cakes. I don't have to get on the rides. I'm fine.
Right.
And that's what that was. It was, it was you're not tall enough. There are going to be some things you can't do. And we had that conversation.
Sure. We have, by the way, we have producer Matt here, who I failed to introduce off the top. Hey, Matt, what's going on?
That's all right. Happy to be here.
We're happy to be here. We're happy to have you here, too.
I'm just enjoying the show.
Well, so I thought it was interesting. I wanted to bring Matt in for this, too, because we talk about the things you can do. You came in here and got on this chair.
Yeah.
Yourself, I mean, your mobility is pretty remarkable, right?
Yeah.
But the other thing I was thinking about too, Matt, with regard to having help and asking for help, you obviously you've said to me before, gosh, I do have, the one thing that's frustrating is I have to have people drive me around. Matt, here's a question for you. When's the last time that you asked somebody for help? Something like, can I get a ride, or can you take me to this thing?
Oh, gosh. It wasn't, I would say it wasn't too long ago. I definitely, we had a car break down on us. And so we were, my wife was going out of town. And so I had to just start asking people. I was like, do you have anything I can borrow? Like, do you have a car I can borrow for a couple of days, or can you give me a ride? But that was, maybe 6 months ago. But yeah, it's when you say it that way, I realize prior to that, I don't go around saying
right,
like I need I need you to be with me, and it really puts things into perspective for me.
This is something I've been trying to work on personally, which is why I hung on to your words about asking people for help, and I want to hear how that's changed your relationships. You have, one of your close friends is here with you today. So how has that changed your relationships in the way that you do have to ask people for help a little bit more?
Asking people for help is something I've always had to do. There's a part of my life that does still require some assistance as independent, as mobile, that I am, there's still a percentage of me that needs help. It's built a lot of relationships. You know, my closest relationships, you know, if sometimes it's like, oh, I don't want to be a burden, you know, you don't want to, you know, have people go out of their way. But my friends, with one of my close friends here, it was, you know, I asked her, it was, yes, what time you got to be there? It was never, you know, my friends always make me feel secure. Like, we got you. We know you need us. And sometimes it's like, let us help you.
Right. And I think that's like the thing.
Like with the chair, you know, like
with
when
the
she
chair.
was,
yeah, she's like,
she's like, I'm always like, we were talking to her and we were talking about, I always live like this YOLO life. Like, I'll just jump out of the chair or
like,
jump out of the car. And she's like, hey, no, we're going to pull the chair closer. Then you get out, or we're going to do this. So oftentimes they're like, Chassidy, let's help you. You can't just dive and jump and do things.
And I think that's important because, like, I'll speak from my perspective. When I had to go out and ask for help, it really didn't take me that long to find somebody that was like, yes, absolutely, I will help you. And I think we probably don't realize in our day-to-day life how many people are out there that we could depend on if we needed to.
Exactly. I mean, that's literally what friendships are made of. Exactly. The friend is not the person who goes to a concert with you. Exactly. That's easy. That's fun.
Yeah.
That's cool.
Yeah.
The friend is not the person that's like, oh, sure, I'll go to a fancy dinner with you or some free tickets to something. Friendship is based on relying on one another. And it really is, just be willing to bet you have closer ties with your friends than most people.
Yes. Yes.
Because you've been able to bridge that.
Yes. My friendships are very strong and very genuine. And I appreciate the fact that my friendships weren't built on my friend got a disability. Like, we have lots of things in common, me and my friends. A lot of our relationship were just because we liked the same things, or we, you know, did the same things. We went to the same places. And it was never about being friends because we feel sorry or being friends because we pity you. It was, you're cool. We like to be around you.
Yes,
we have fun.
Of course.
And so that in a sense makes my friendships very strong because it's rooted in something that's really tight. And I would feel sorry for you. So when we need help, it's yes. We got you.
I love that. I think that's a strong message that all of us can learn from. Okay, the other thing I want to talk to Chassidy about is her pro-glam lifestyle, her career. The way this woman has just been such a boss in her career is really impressive. So we are going to talk about that in the second segment of Second Shot. Really quick break to tell you guys about, and we have been so pumped about this, our new sponsor of the Second Shot podcast. It is myllc.com. So Heath actually introduced me to this company a long time ago because he's been using them for everything. Every time he puts together a new business, he goes there, gets the LLC set up. They send back a little portfolio with everything done. It's legally savvy, legally sound, and put together for you. So if you're somebody who's sort of like thinks that that's the daunting part of a business, which for me, it always has been, myllc.com is for real where you want to go. And they're also hooking you guys up with a deal. So write it down. Maybe you're not starting a business today, but maybe you're getting inspired by the interviews. It is this 99 My LLC, which gives you $99 off of a new corporation or LLC. I will also tell you, we definitely price checked before doing this. It is for sure the most affordable option. Heath and I have been using them for years and years. We just adore this company. So myllc.com. And again, the code for $99 off is 99MyLLC. So in the last segment, we talked a little bit about really the one thing that it seems like you need help with is pretty much just transportation. Aside from that, you guys, she's doing it all on her own. And, you know, you're keeping this full-time job that you've always worked, right? Let's talk about your career and what you do.
Yes. So by day, I do work in the customer support field. I work from home, which is one of the greatest things that could ever happen in the job field. Because I always, like I mentioned, I always wanted to be independent. It was very important for me to be able to do as much as I could do on my own and to be able to support myself as much as possible. So work is something I wanted to do. When I, graduated college, I went straight into it and wanted to get some experience working. And most of my jobs have been customer service, and I've excelled in it very much so. And oftentimes my employers did not know about any type of disability. I worked for a company, and we had a Christmas party. So the Christmas party, I worked from home, so no one saw each other.
Yeah, so it was like a virtual Christmas party?
No, it was a meetup.
Oh, it was in person. Okay, gotcha.
The job was virtual.
Okay.
But the Christmas party was a meetup. So, at this company, I'm a team lead. I'm like doing all these things. People are coming to me for assistance.
You're like excelling and moving up in the ranks.
Moving up, and they're like, I'm that girl at this company. So I go to the Christmas party, and everyone's like, who's that? Who's that? Who's that? So the people I talk to on an everyday basis, they're like, what? You're Chassidy, my boss. He was like floored. He was.
I love this so much.
You are I'm like, and there weren't any accommodations. I'm excelling. I'm doing my job. I'm performing. I'm leading. And you have this disability that you didn't have to accommodate for me. You had to do anything special for me. You had to give me the opportunity.
And you were actually performing better.
He's talked to me tons of times through like a chat. He's emailed me. He sent me, letters or emails of thank you for, you're doing a great job. And he walked right past me.
I had no idea
when he came in.
Well, let's talk about logistics. How are you able to do your job? I think that's something that for you may seem super obvious because you've been working the way you work for so long. But other people might wonder, gosh, well, how does she do it?
Yeah. So I use my limbs like you would use your hands quite much. So I type. I have a headset.
Okay.
That allows, when I'm receiving or if I'm taking calls for the day, I have a headset, but I'm typing, I'm sending emails. I navigate the mouse with my arm. It's very efficient for me. It's actually really fast paced for me too. With the job that I am, it's a fast paced job, and I'm leading in every single metric in every single area. So
that's amazing. Everyone listening needs to stop it with any excuses they have.
Or make a way.
Yeah, or just make a way.
Make a way to do it. I wanted to do it. So it was all about finding a way to do it, and it goes back to just trying to do it, like typing and those type of things, just trying to do and doing it more often and more frequently, and you find yourself being quicker at it.
Sure.
And it becomes natural, and it did. Typing is very natural for me, like all the time. When I'm texting on my phone, I'll notice people like, what is she doing? And I'm just moving.
You just made it happen. Yeah, you did. Chassidy doesn't really take no for an answer. It sounds like that's kind of the name of your game. And Matt, you just brought up a really good point during the break that I wanted to be able to touch on. Okay. You were talking about just like employers and looking at pools of talent.
Well, yeah, I brought it up because I had recently listened to a podcast, and they were talking about the efforts made to get, they're called curb cuts, but it's the little ramps in the curb where if you're walking down the sidewalk, you can cross the street and get back up on the curb. And so for people in a wheelchair or something like that, it was a very big deal to have these things start to be installed everywhere. And when you look at it now, you think, well, yeah, of course. I mean, how are you supposed to get up over a curb, especially, back earlier when wheelchairs were a little bit more simple? Like, it makes sense. And so I'm curious if there's something in today's world that, I don't know, 10 years from now, we'd look back on and be like, of course, we should have done this, that you can see as something that would make your life easier, whether that be, something in the physical world or a mental change or something like that.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's a really awesome question. There has been lots of changes publicly to accommodate people in wheelchairs. I would say people in wheelchairs. There's ramps. There's doors that open, with the button you push. There are elevators. Sure. And things have definitely gotten better. I do think that a lot of time people think of people with disabilities as people in a wheelchair.
Okay.
There are some people who are disabled, they're walking. There are people that are smaller. Mm-hmm. I live in a world that's bigger than me. So, those type of things I guess will come. But more so for me, it's really important with me because in changing the social stigmas or changing the social assumptions of people with disabilities.
Okay, so like employers realizing how hireable you are.
How hireable? Yes, indeed. There's this great talent pool of people with disabilities that are unemployed. I think it's at 20 million.
Wow.
That's a large group of people who are unemployed, most of the time because of the disability or because of jobs thinking or having this assumption that I have to change the face of my company. I have to change how we do things. And I have to accommodate this person. And it's going to cost a lot to accommodate this person when there's so much research out there that says it doesn't. So I think there's a social and there's a stigma that people have attached to it because there's too much research saying that this is not true. So it's important for me to show, this side of people with disabilities or limitations as, just highlight the things that you can bring to a company. As I mentioned to you, problem solving, I think is the number one aspect of people who have a physical disability, because you always are finding ways to work around something.
You're perpetual creative thinker.
Always thinking critically.
Yeah.
It's always a critical thinking situation. It's always a way to try to find, how am I going to do that? So your brain is operating and it's moving. And typically most people are not. So you're not thinking, most times if you are not met with this type of challenge, you're thinking one way, like, oh my God, I can't write. I don't have these hands. So my brain is like, okay, I can do this, I can do that. Boom, now I'm writing. I can put the pen up to my cheek, lean down, I can write now. So you're thinking of multiple ways. And I think that brings so much benefit to a company because you're not boxed. Now you have 4 and 5 solutions to a problem. You got options now.
And is that not what every employer wants? Literally. That's what every employer is looking for, is somebody that will find the workaround, that will make things happen, which is obviously what you've done. Because I think it's safe to say a lot of people would look at you and think that you would not be able to type, much less be the top of your class, the top of your game. So I'm really glad you bring up that point so that we can reframe. So we can look honestly at ourselves and think, would I be the person to think that just by looking at her, or would I at least ask? Would I at least find out? Would I at least entertain an interview with this person to say, show me your stuff, show me your stuff. Okay, transition now to talk about, you've got this kind of glamorous life going on here.
Do I?
Yes, you do. You do. I follow you on Instagram and I see it. Let's talk about the TV show that you were featured on.
Born Different. So Born Different is it's a TV show, I guess you call it, a digital show that I absolutely love. And I wish it was something that, I could have had growing up, but I absolutely love that it's something that is available for me now, even as an adult, because it has brought to me an identity that I thought I was alone in,
Yeah.
It seems crazy. Of course, you probably don't, as for me, it was, I didn't see anything. If you're the only person that looks like you everywhere you go, you're that only.
You're always not relating to people on that physical level.
Level. So Born Different brings all people across the globe with different physical or mental
just differences.
And I absolutely love it. So I saw it. It's so funny how Born Different came into my life. So it's so weird. People on Facebook that know me, if they see a video of someone missing a leg or arm, I'm tagged. So I'm always tagged. If it's
I know that person.
I don't have to tag me in every leg person without a leg, but it was always these videos where, look, Chassidy. I'm like, oh, another person without a leg.
You're like, what else do we have in common?
Okay, but it was great. So a cousin of mine, she was like, they need to, why you need to be on this show? Like, you were awesome. They need to see you. And so me and her, we tag team one night. We found an email and we sent emails, and they reached out to me a week later, came out and filmed, and their feedback was super, 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 super awesome. It did about 30 million views the first week or two. And it was a really positive, and it was people all over the globe from Africa to Japan to Russia to Europe to Canada to the islands. There were people that were all over the world who were reaching out to me and who were just telling me how inspired they was and like, oh my gosh, like you're awesome. And it was so amazing. But for me to just see people that looked like me, I was like, there's so many of you. Where were you?
Right. Where were you when I was 12 years old? Why didn't we protest at Six Flags that day? You guys weren't there. You left me by myself.
Right. But it's really been awesome to be able to have a identity like that, where you can really see someone who can truly relate to you on that level. Then you don't feel like you're alone, and you were alone when you thought you were.
I'm so glad that show exists and that you've been able to spread your message that way. And it seems like that's also kind of leading to you being able to do other appearances and speak to groups and stuff like that. Is that something that you see more of in your future?
Yes. Speaking, public speaking, motivational speaking, is something I've always been interested in. I've always wanted to be in front of people, and I've always wanted to pour into people and to just show people just different ways to make things happen. I've had people come up to me, and you think that, people put their own limitations on you. I never thought I was limited. Yeah. I really didn't, because of course I didn't have these hands. Of course I was smaller, but I was doing things. So I felt like,
what's the big deal?
I need them.
Yeah.
I felt like I'm writing, I'm eating by myself, I'm bathing myself, I'm taking myself to the restroom, I'm working, I'm doing lots of different things, and I felt like, okay, I'm not limited. So people are putting limitations on me. But I'm not limited. And I've had people come up to me and they'll say, I did an interview and I was talking about disability, and the guy, he stopped and he was like, I'm so offended because you don't know what you have. Yes, you don't have these hands, but you have so much that people need. You have will, you have courage. And I found myself like, okay, I can give. I can contribute to this world.
Your brain power, the way that you think, Chassidy, is what is such a game changer for you. Or at least that's the obvious one to me. And the thing that, like if we can all have a piece of that, that's how we change. Because everybody has a perceived limitation, whether it's from other people or that they perceive themselves. But you don't perceive it in you, which is why you keep soaring.
Exactly.
Right? It's wonderful. It's remarkable. It's impressive, and makes everybody else get up off their behind and go do something. Go be at the top of your game and show up at the Christmas party, right?
Up at the Christmas party, like, pow.
Yes.
Me.
Something else that you speak a lot about body positivity, which is just a message that so many people can learn from. And I've noticed how much I want to pull up one of the posts that you put on Instagram that really spoke to me. Okay. It says, this is a body hate free zone. Everybody is loved and celebrated here. So what can other women learn from that message? What's the point in putting that out to the public?
There are so many expectations being a woman. Even being a woman with a disability, you still are essentially a woman, and we have so many expectations of what we're supposed to look like, how we're supposed to look that way, what's beautiful, who can be beautiful, who can be desirable, what body type is sexy, which is not. There's all these type of limits and expectations placed on, more importantly, women. Most times.
Sure.
So I was talking to body positivity is really important for women. I know that men deal with it as well.
Of course.
But there's a lot of pressure for women with body positivity, and most importantly for people like myself to accept it and own it. I had to make a decision that this was my body. It's not changing. As far as, I wasn't going to wake up one day and I'm 5'6" and have, long legs and hands. This is a person that came to this world with. This is the body I came in this world with. This is the body I'm going to leave this world with. And it was really important for me to be able to express how I felt on the inside. I felt like I felt beautiful. I felt like I could be sexy. I felt desirable. Yep. And it was important to me to have the freedom to express that, not just to feel that way, but to say I have a right to, and I want it to express it. So I like to express,
I like
to
that you
own and express, how you feel about yourself.
That takes me a little bit to thinking about our conversation we had about dating.
Oh,
Are you
off limits? No, I'm kidding.
Yeah, I'm like, I said, is anything off limits? And she said no, so I had to bring up dating.
I said dating was off limits. No, I'm just kidding.
So are you single? Are you attached? Are you allowed to say?
I'm single. Mm-hmm. I talk to someone, but I'm single.
Okay.
You know?
Okay.
But dating is it's one of those things I didn't put a lot of energy into because I didn't want, guys or just people in general, when it's just different for you and you're okay with it. But again, we live in a world where we need validation from other people. So like, I'm okay with you, Chaz, like you're cool, but you to worry too much about what other people think. And that can affect me.
Okay.
And you start to, doubt yourself and you start to question yourself. So it never, and I know, sometimes you just have a preference. You might be a leg man.
Sure.
You might.
Sure. Okay. In which case, that's not the match,
you
maybe.
Might be a leg, you have a preference. So it never is my idea to, you got to date me. Don't, you know what I mean?
Sure.
It was, at the end of the day, respect me as a woman, get to know me as a woman. And if we build and we grow beyond that, then cool. So I've been able to be fairly successful sometimes.
I mean, that's all any of us can ask for in the dating world,
Yeah, that's not a different story for me.
Fairly successful is all I ever was until I got married too.
Kind of successful. It's working, but I just try to, be myself and to let guys know that, just to be yourself around me. Don't be so fragile. Sometimes guys be very fragile and want to handle me very lightly. Like I'm a doll, I want to break her. So, just be yourself.
I suspect once they get to know you, they see your strength and your, and your confidence. Your confidence is unparalleled, and the way that you know yourself. And gosh, getting to know yourself on that level is something that I think is just so attractive in so many ways. So
yeah.
You've got it going on. You've got it going on in that way.
Thank you.
One last thing we have to talk about is, because again, this is from your Instagram, and I've just been like dying over your style and your outfits and your glam and your makeup and stuff. That seems to be so much a part of your personality and your essence, is just like your bold style.
Yes. Style and glam is a very large part of my confidence. And that's just, again, being a woman and seeing myself as for a woman first, not seeing this disability first. I'm a woman first. That's what it shows up. Chassidy Young, female, and that's what I'm a woman first. And everyone wants to feel beautiful. You want to express that. So looking cute. I have a really glam mom. Like my mom is a glam girl. So it was like, okay.
Did you get it from her?
Yeah. So she's a glam girl. So it was like, okay, well, we're going to make these this one make this little girl with these no arms look so cute. Yeah. Everybody's not gonna notice it because they're like, okay, she's super cute. Her hair's done, her makeup's done, or it's just something that I like to do. It's not necessarily something I try to do to prove anything. I just enjoy fashion. I enjoy beauty. I like to get my hair done. I like to get my toes polished. Just something I enjoy doing, as a woman.
Yeah.
Naturally. And it makes you feel good. When you look good, you feel good.
It's part of your personality. And I just, there are just so many things about a person aside from the things that they can't do. And I think that you're really just such an example of that, and an inspiration for so many people. So I do want to find out who inspires you.
Yeah.
Who do you look to? Is there a role model or an example or somebody whose lives that you've followed?
Yeah. My inspirations, I have inspirations. I have a group of inspirations, and there are people who are close to me. I have a very big support system, so I'm inspired. When I need motivation or I need inspiration, I'm going to people who I can see, touch, and feel. So my family, I have my brother, my sister, my mom, my dad are very supportive. I have very supportive friends. They always, they keep me going, and they always remind me of who I am, or remind me of what I can do, what I've been able to do, remind me that, we got you, remind me that you've inspired us. Like and it bounces back. I think that inspirations need to be people you can see and you can go to. I can call you. They need to be very relevant to you. Because that's what we need. We need that closeness. So my inspirations are people that are around
your
me
relationships
every day.
that
My
you have.
relationships inspire me.
Oh, that's awesome.
And Ellen.
And Ellen. I mean, I just think the dancing has got to happen.
It has to. I want to get on that little white
on the stage kind of situation.
Oh,
the chair.
Sit next to her on the white chair. Like,
we don't ask for much,
I don't
Ellen.
ask for much, Ellen. Gosh.
She's so stingy.
She is. Like,
okay, well, I can't wait till the day that happens and we can talk about it and I can be like, see, we manifested it. I'm always telling people, say out loud what you want. Say out loud what you want. Say out loud what you want. So we said it out loud today. Before we wrap up, I've got to finish up with our standard go-to second shot questions. Okay. The first one of them being, if you got to start all over and choose, would you choose that life be fair or unfair?
Would I choose that life be fair or unfair?
It's a tough one, isn't it? It's a little bit of a mind bender.
Yeah, because it seems very, like, it's obvious. Like, clearly you want life to be fair. But I want life to be fair because it places everyone on a level playing field. So anything that happened to you is because of the decision you've made or a decision that you didn't make. So now you're accountable for what's happened. You can't blame any outside limitations. You can't blame a disability. You can't blame anything but what you decided or did not decide to do.
Oh, I like it. That's interesting. Hasn't it been interesting, Matt, to hear the different perspectives of what people say to this question?
Yeah, it really has. Everybody has kind of like a different idea of what it should be. I think you're one of the few that has said that life should be fair, but I like that.
But and it's always the reasoning. You
right.
guys, if you're a hiring manager, I'm not the boss of anybody, so I don't get to hire anybody. But if I was, I would be asking this in an interview because it shows you what somebody's mindset is. It's very interesting.
That's a really good question.
Okay, so now here's the final question, and I like to, speak into existence maybe you being a published author or something like that. So let's do this. Say I'm going to give you a book deal.
Okay.
And the book is going to go out to everybody in the world who needs a second shot. The catch is the book is only one line. What is the one line of your book? What's the one thing that you're going to get into the hands of everybody who needs a quote-unquote second shot?
One-liner, don't diss my ability. Don't diss my ability.
Don't diss my ability.
Don't diss my ability.
And everybody can use that. I mean, that's okay. We're going to go ahead and give it to everybody in the world then. Because that's a good,
in the world. Don't diss my ability. It says, don't take away what I can do. Don't take away what I can do.
Oh, such a strong message for so many of us. Let everybody know where they can find you.
So I am on all of social media, but you can definitely find me on Facebook, Chasing Chassidy. You can add me on Instagram, Chasing Chassidy, YouTube page, Chasing Chassidy. So it's very easy to find me. I'm always posting. Social media is where I got a lot of my fan base at. So that's where you can find me. You can reach out to me. You can message me, inbox me. I reply sometimes. You're not asking me on dates.
People sliding into her DMs.
As long as you're not asking me out on dates, I'm responding.
Oh my gosh. Chassidy, you're awesome. Don't diss my ability. You guys burn that into your heads. We have got to have that as a part of our mantras as we're going through life. I so appreciate you coming over here, hanging out, sharing all of this with us. I appreciate you. You're a rock star.
Thank you for having me. I'm excited. This was fun.
Oh, that's fun.